Hello and welcome back to another episode of your favourite educational podcast, where we once again meet for me to tell you that I hate everything and want to live in a white void, despite being surrounded by piles of things that I don't want and don't like, but can't get rid of, because I have a pathological attachment to them and consider each one to have the same sentimental worth as a small child.
Oh. That's it, I'm not going.
In today's episode, I wanted to discuss the topic of rebranding because I feel as though I am due one. I'm sure you've heard Plentiful a TikToker guide you through the Great Rebrand of 2026, and also the subsequent flurry of video essays shitting on them because everything on TikTok is bad and dumb and responsible for everything wrong that has happened in the world since COVID and is the leading cause of heart disease in America, or whatever. And just to give you a little taste of the rebrand I am rolling out, I no longer think this way. No longer will I talk bad about TikTokers, influencers, performative males, people who I decide I don't like on the internet because they don't have the same opinion as me, because I fear I have become the stereotypical insufferable video essayist. I've watched so many self-proclaimed video essays that I now realise that every single one is the same. It is 40 minutes of a person with a microphone shitting on TikTokers, acting as though their opinion is original just because it is different to the opinion of the person in the TikTok they are overlaying over a blurry background in their video. I think the term video essay needs to be protected. Might I just add to this that I've never proclaimed to make video essays. I've never proclaimed these to be video essays. I've never proclaimed to be a video essayist. I often see in my YouTube comments, great video essay, 10 out of 10, no notes, wow, this video essay is amazing. You're so beautiful, sexy, intelligent, funny, smart. I love this video essay. But I have never called them this myself because they are not video essays. I am not a video essayist. And just before we continue with this video that is not an essay, to complement my rebrand, I have something I need to admit. I've never been a particularly productive person. I'm a pathological perfectionist and I thrive off night before a deadline peril. I then wonder why I'm so miserable and anxious all the time. So, in an exercise of optimism optimization, I attended a class on Skillshare by YouTube's resident doer of absolutely everything, Ali Abdaal, called Productivity Masterclass: Principles and Tools to Boost Your Productivity. Because the system I use tends to create less so a plan and more so a threat. This is such a great class because he teaches you the principles of productivity as a theory rather than just telling you a list of things to buy that you need to learn how to use in order to just make you more productive. It was an educational experience rather than a tutorial and a shopping list, and as your educational podcast host, that is exactly what I was looking for. I can apply the information to my own way of working rather than leaving with something generic, having mindlessly followed instructions. Skillshare has creative classes taught by world-class creatives like professional illustrators, renowned graphic designers, and successful entrepreneurs. It's the best place to learn a creative skill or pick up a new hobby. If you're looking to reconnect with your creativity and maybe avoiding brain rot, Skillshare is where humans come to learn from other humans. If you would like to join a class and learn from real people with real skills, the first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you, Skillshare, for working with me on this video. I think it is time to shit on our own on YouTube and stop acting holier than thou being TikTok, because we make long-form videos that require an attention span and critical thinking. No. Whoever propagated the lie that watching a 40-minute YouTube video is evidence of a healed doom scroll brain rot TikTok attention span was paid by YouTube to say this, because I know for myself at least that watching a YouTube video requires less attention than watching a TikTok, because you best believe I have it running split screen while I'm scrolling Vinted, or in the background while I change my bed sheets or get dressed, or literally anything. It's just noise. And I know that probably 80% of you are watching my video in the same fashion, because you are nothing special. You do not have an expert level of attention. And I am nothing special because here I am being miserable with a microphone. No one is special, no one is unique, especially not YouTubers, especially not people watching YouTube, of which I fall into both categories. And you fall into at least one of them. So I know that everyone being addressed by this video, simply by watching it, is not special. In the Great Rebrand of 2026, what do I consider myself if not a video essayist? I am a journalist, a modern historian, a psychosocial critic of the arts. There seems to be a social media hierarchy, and as I've just said, no one on the internet has ever had an original opinion, so I'm sure you've heard it before, but the hierarchy is as follows: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And there is a couple of different metrics people use to come to this evaluation. The two most popular being the loyalty of your audience and effort required to both consume and create. A TikTok follower is less valuable than an Instagram follower is less valuable than a YouTube subscriber. A TikTok video requires less effort to consume or create than an Instagram post than a YouTube video. And again, this is not some wild commentary that I'm claiming is unique, or that is an insightful opinion. This is very much so an online culture widely accepted rule. And I do agree with this. But now I'm going to do the YouTube video essay thing and disagree with an online opinion. Because I recognize something that you're all doing that I'm not. And that makes me better than you because I'm different. Okay, here it is. My controversial opinion that no one has ever mentioned on the internet ever before is that YouTube is no better than TikTok. As mentioned, playing a YouTube video while you eat your meal that you have to turn subtitles on for because you can't even hear it over your own munching is not evidence of a healthier attention span as compared to someone scrolling TikTok. Having an opinion for 40 minutes with an intro and an ad integration is not necessarily more insightful than a 90-second TikTok. But you know what? That's okay. And this is the defining feature of my personal 2026 rebrand. I'm not trying to claim to be better than anyone else. I'm not even trying to be better than anyone else. I'm accepting that it's okay to like stuff. And it's okay to like stuff that other people like. That having the same opinion as someone else isn't bad if that is actually your opinion. Having an opposing opinion doesn't make it a smarter or more correct opinion just because it is different. I've seen many an insightful TikTok and an uninsightful YouTube video. Similarly, I've seen many an uninsightful TikTok and insightful YouTube video. The platform and length of the video is not what makes it any more or less insightful. Now, I'm not going to stop being miserable because I'm miserable about everything, not just things I see on the internet, so I get to keep that one. But I'm not going to treat any digital media platform as any more valid than another. With that in mind, I'm now going to be miserable about Substack and how it is being treated above YouTube here in our hierarchy, sitting pretty at the top. In case you are unfamiliar, Substack, as described by Substack, is a new economic engine for culture, a media platform for video, writing, podcasts, and creator-centered communities, all powered by subscriptions. Okay. However, how it is portrayed online is that this is an intellectual space for writers.
The algorithm used to reward brain rot, now it's rewarding intelligence. We're seeing a real rise in intellectual content on social media right now.
It has somehow gained a reputation for being more academic, insightful, critical than any other social media platform because people write rather than take videos or pictures. But in reality, this is nothing more than a glorified blog, and we need to remember that. I think being smart is cool right now. Being a critical thinker is cool right now. Intellectuals are top of the social hierarchy, which is a new phenomenon on social media. So in the small history we have had of social media, the top of the food chain has always been claimed by either loud, abrasive, rich, controversial, or generically attractive people. In specifically the category of videos that I guess this video would be classed as to be in, the people considered cool, historically, are the people that show massive shopping hauls, luxury holidays, house tours, people that can present collections of expensive things that they own. And that has shifted to the people considered to be cool, being the people that can talk shit about a TikToker for 40 minutes with a microphone, blaming them for destroying the planet and the degeneration of youth intellectualism. But just like these YouTube videos, Substack, despite how it is being portrayed, is no more intellectual than a TikTok, beyond the fact that you have to know how to read. And let me just say that yes, I know that there are some intellectually sound and academically informed writing on Substack, but as is there on TikTok and YouTube, I think we have to be careful treating the opinions and writing we find on Substack as more true, more valid than the opinions we find on TikTok or YouTube, because there's no actual academic regulation to it. I see it all the time in video essays that I watch, a Substack being referenced as though it is a peer-reviewed academic essay in a scientific journal. And it's not, it's a blog. And at that, there's a trend and uprising of aesthetically bad grammar, bad written grammar, what with anti-capitalization and punctuation cushioning, being used to soften the tone of a grammatically correct sentence, and the extinction of M-dashes because no one wants to look as though they have used ChatGPT. So things are being made dumb on purpose, and this is no good, but I think this is a topic for another video. So do let me know if you want to hear more on that. Write me a punctuation cushion comment in the comment section and I will aesthetically respond. Another example of this shift is that reading is cool now. And because reading is cool, reading has become popular. And when something becomes popular, there is a desire to distinguish yourself from everyone else making that thing popular. And the way that this is done is either by discussing certain types of literature as a way to demonstrate they are different or better than the masses, or by shitting on them for doing it performatively because I am the only one that actually likes reading. How can you possibly like reading? I am the only person who actually likes reading. reading. Generally, again, not trying to shit on TikTok and not trying to say all TikToks, not all TikToks, but generally on TikTok and YouTube, you will see the latter, whereas on Substack, you will see the former. And this is supposedly what makes Substack a better social media platform than TikTok or YouTube. But what I find when I do actually read something on Substack, that it can, yes, be arguably interesting, but this is generally because I find the topic in general interesting. The commentary will be very surface level and obvious, and something that I've seen every TikToker say already. It's people portraying their writing as important, and people portraying their writing as important. I had to read that to get that right. And we just need to remember that it's not. Or rather, it's no more important than someone having an opinion on TikTok. Okay, but here comes our rebranded 2026 personality. Whilst all this is true, there is also nothing wrong with this. There is nothing wrong with Substack just being like every other social media. It's okay that Substack is filled with Sabrina Carpenter essays and lists of things. I don't know, everything is an essay or a list of things. But that's okay. And I know that this isn't an original idea either. There is someone else on the internet who has thought the exact same thing as me and thought it last week and made a video shitting on Substack because of it. Because like I said, no one is unique and I am no exception. But just like the performative male trend, we have this kind of trend inception or opinion inception. So for example, in the performative male trend, we had the performative male being called out by a performative male and this situation being called out by another performative male. Another example is the offline analog trend. You have chronically online person being called out by chronically online person telling them to go offline analog, and then you had me, self-proclaimed chronically online person, calling out offline analog person who is posting chronically online content, calling out chronically online person. It's the same thing. It's the same situation. We have the social media think piece being called out by another social media think piece. Then this think piece situation as a whole is being called out in another think piece. And just to add another layer to our think piece lasagna, this video is the fourth layer where I am the think piece calling out the think piece, calling out the think piece situation as a whole, where think piece calls out original think piece. I think. So in the trend lasagna, my think piece is stop shitting on Substack because it's okay to have silly little pieces of writing on the internet as long as we realise that they are just silly little pieces of writing and recognise that it is okay to read silly little pieces of writing, just like it's okay to watch silly little videos on TikTok. Calling out Substack for being pretentious is pretentious in itself. And whoever makes a response to this video as the next layer in the trend lasagna with a think piece calling out my think piece that calls out the think piece situation of think piece calling out think piece. I wish that any reference, citation or attribution of my work be formatted according to APA 7th edition guidelines. But anyway, going back to rebranding, the rebrand is you're not important, but it's okay to like unimportant things. And the whole way I came across this epiphany was by watching a load of video essays on YouTube, shitting on TikToks talking about rebranding for 2026 before I ever even saw a TikTok suggesting we should rebrand for 2026. And I just thought, okay, this is miserable. And also, you don't know me if you're telling me that I don't need to rebrand. Because I need a rebrand. I'm rebranding. Because I have realised it is okay to agree with a TikToker. In the next episode, we'll be discussing how I'm putting this idea into practice, how I'm going to become more fun, happy, heaven forbid, through the medium of fashion and artistic direction. So come again this time next week for that. Okay. Thank you very much for being here with me. I do hope you enjoyed that video. I'll see you very incredibly soon. I'm exhausted now. But yes, anyway. See you soon. If I look back at this video and realise I never pressed record, I will be extremely upset. Okay, thank you very much again to Skillshare for working with me on this video. I'll see you soon.
Oh. That's it, I'm not going.